Om Batakiasan. Namaste, Sarva Mira Ristar. So, OCO, all my relatives. Oh, well, it's been a little while since I've done a spontaneous meditation walk rambling. However, this one is just being drawn right out of me. And I'm gonna see about picking up the thread here. It's kind of this, whoa, man, have we been programmed as a species? It's really interesting. So, to use some terminology that I've been hearing a lot lately, you know, when you step out of that matrix and you start being your original instructions, there's some challenges with that sometimes. And this one just has me giggling and kind of in this, really? In this like, wow, we have been so programmed as a species. Anyway, so my little Rashida here is trained. You can see I'm not holding on to the leash. It's just hooked to me. He walks on the left-hand side of the road. The left-hand side, the left-hand side of the road. Towards traffic. Facing incoming traffic, you would say. Right? I love this horse here. Come on. He loves the berries provided by the tree. So, walks on the left-hand side of the road. On my left side. He was trained by an 8-year-old. You know, and I remember as an 8-year-old, well, even younger than that, we were taught to walk on the left-hand side of the road. You're going into traffic. You are facing oncoming traffic. Somebody wants to pull over. You can see them starting to pull over and attempt to conversation with you, you know, right? You don't have no surprises coming up behind you unless they're really breaking the law. So, and bicycles were ridden on the road and were treated like cars. You're on the right-hand side of the road. You can go around whatever you need to go around, but you're flowing with traffic. And you follow the, you know, stoplight, stop signs, all that heavy, you know, all that wonderful stuff, like cars do. It's like this training ground, right? Well, along comes bike paths, right? Which are typically in alignment. But when you're on a bike path in a park, you know, one of those little parks, or you're on trails now, you know, like going through the woods and whatnot, and even sometimes right here on the sidewalk, there's been this like reprogramming that has taken place. It keeps us all confused, right? Well, the only one not confused was an 8-year-old girl and this dog. You know, we build fences and the wildlife is like, what the fuck is that? And they find a way around it, through it, under it. Because, you know, all of this belongs to all of us. So there's this confusion, and I had this giggle, right? I'm coming upon, and how we've been trained and programmed, coming around the bend the second time at the park. The first time, there was no other traffic. And this man looked up from his phone and saw Rashini and I coming, and we nodded, and he went around me. No big deal. There are some of those that are like, you're not following the rules, and they give you this like really evil look, like, who the fuck do you think you are? Of course, I'm thinking, who the fuck do you think you are? And I realize, I totally get it. That's just that initial response that comes up in your head that we've been programmed with. And you take a deep breath and go beyond that, and it's like, hey, I've been there. I was one of those once. So, and it's not to say that any of us are right or wrong. I could be totally in the wrong, and I totally see that too. I really do. There's times when I'm like, who the fuck do I think I am? But I'm not going to confuse this dog who's been trained so perfectly. And it's just, it doesn't matter which side of the road you choose to walk on. You just kind of make way. Anyway, I realized the two people that were coming head to head in their stubbornness, so to speak, or their mule dog, so to speak, was a man, a colored man. Man, have they gone through this shit, right? Okay. And of course, they're like, we're not backing down. We're standing proud with who we are. So, black man, and me, a kind of a native, a Native American, gypsy, woman, dog, call me a witch and my dog, whatever. I'm a woman. I'm not necessarily Caucasian, but that doesn't matter. It's this, wow, okay, isn't this interesting? The two of the varieties of humans who have been suppressed and taken advantage of, we'll say 3, 4 freaking gazillion years. I don't even want to try to figure it out. But definitely above and beyond a call, so to speak, for at least 150 to 80 years across the globe. So, and we're we're in this planetary or moon going into, I forget which sign, for 2 days, and then moving into, I believe it's Aquarius, Aries. Definitely this like stepping it into the fire with this movement action. It's the movement action, like it's time to take action after this shedding and resprouting. Well, now it's time to really nurture it and grow into it. And so that shadow side of ourselves, not only for myself, because I carry that, you could say, scarred DNA, and that's a big, big part of the reason I'm here in Yuma. It's kind of like staying in the fire, staying in that sunshine. I think they get like 0.3 of an inch of rain every year here. It's like the sunniest place in the United States. Yes, that includes Phoenix and Miami, even Hawaii. So, that big portion for myself. You know, I have that DNA from my Cherokee Sloggy line. And, you know, because yes, we are a proud Cherokee, I'm proud to have that in my ancestry. I wasn't raised in it. Oh, it come flooding back in. It came flooding back in, and even having this like, well, how did I know that? You know, it said that, following that intuition, and every native has that. Every native has that. We all have it, actually. Every single one of us are native now. And so then I have this African American in me that was taken as a slave. That was my great-great-grandpa back in there. He was on the Trail of Tears with my great-grandmother. And so, and they hooked up and had my grandmother, Pearl. And they just called her Cherokee. You know, they didn't go into all the details. She was raised in the Cherokee Nation. And so down there in the Blue Ridge, Cumberland Gap area. So, and then of course my grandmother was too, down there in the Cumberland Gap. Somerset, Burnside, Harlem, down there in Kentucky. And so, and then I also have Cobra Gypsy from Rajasthan, India. And so I love piecing all that together. And of course I have the German and Dutch and Irish on my dad's side. So there's this healing of this lineage there with my DNA strands, and taking it back and taking it back and taking it back and taking it back. And I've been doing these studies around, the great cosmic mother, Barbara. Oh, I don't have her last name on the tip of my tongue. But it was one that my adopted mother highly suggested. And so oh my gosh, is that some good stuff. And I know it's factual because one of her stepsons or son-in-laws, a wife or the husband of one of her daughters, read it, and that was what he was studying in college at the university, and wrote his paper almost solely based on that book. She makes a lot of references to ancient texts. And so with that, delving into that, I'm like, holy moly, this is what I have felt. This is what I have felt. This is what I have known. Even when I was a little girl, I just could not make sense of this world. And the family I was in, I loved them, and I loved what they taught me and shown me, and a lot of our experiences. However, our philosophy, our beliefs, core beliefs were really different. Although I recall towards the end of calling them family, there was a bit of an awakening. There was definitely a bit of an awakening that was facilitated. Now, I'm not saying that I am the cause, but I brought it to their awareness. And they began, especially my dad, began contemplating it. I remember he was telling me once, well, you've ruined fishing, daughter, for me. You ruined fishing for me, daughter, and now I can't even eat them. They really do have souls. So, and then I remember him sharing with me, well, now you got me wondering, almost believing that this prayer shit works. I'm like, all right, well, good, okay. You know, we all have our own awakening moments and times, and some of us don't awaken, and that's on purpose too. We can shame it, guilt it, all we want, all we want. However, we're all playing our parts. We're all playing our parts. And in the prophecies, it shared the rainbow children, the rainbow children. So it doesn't matter your quantum blood or this or that. Are you living the ways? Are you living the original instructions? Not necessarily what we've been taught, but what we feel, what we know, what is at that crystal core of our heart that was built into our DNA, and begin flipping those switches and bringing it together as a rainbow child or a mutt. Yes, there may still be some 100% pure blood out there. But, or however, or and, we are bringing all of these teachings together. We are sharing all of these teachings, honoring each other's culture, and bringing it together as a species for the benefit of all animals. The two-legged, the four-legged, the winged ones, the creepy crawlers, the flying ones, the finned ones, the swimming ones. Bringing them all together, because in the teachings that I was taught around the Chanupa, the peace pipe, the prayer pipe that brings peace. Well, this is the community animal peace pipe, bringing peace among all the species, which is peacefully encompassing all creation's energies. That's the accurate, or anyway, what each letter represents for this particular Chanupa, this particular prayer pipe. And it's when each one of us in the community picks up that pinch of tobacco, prays with it from the heart, offering it to the Mother, the Father, and praying within the heart in that alignment inside of your own medicine wheel. And you offer it to the Chanupa, to the bowl, placing it in the bowl. All of those prayers, your prayers become my prayers, and my prayers become your all's prayers. It is all one. It is our prayers. And when I went traveling with the community animal peace pipe, I noticed in Africa, in the schools, they had the native Bushmen there, painted on the wall, holding his prayer pipe. I reach India, Abu Dhabi, they have the hookahs. All the prayers are in the center. Everyone has their hookah straw. Everyone's prayers going in there, praying with the hookah. So even the prayer pipe, the chanupa, is all across the land, all across the world. We all have fire ceremonies, and we all have water ceremonies. And we're bringing them all together in this 8th fire. Because this is the time that our ancestors prayed for the rainbow children, for the grandmothers, for the voices to be heard, for the elders, their voices to be heard and acted upon. This is the moon that we have kind of, it's like, okay, shutting off all that old stuff, and now the sun moves into this sign. I think it's Aquarius, the sun moving into Aquarius. Anyway, or Aries, one of the two. It's a fire sign. And then we have the moon with the Taurus, that grounding. Good times, good times, good times. So everything is just, and it's all about the collective. Not only is it on a personal level, we do the work on a personal level inside of ourselves and act on the pieces, those instincts, those intuitions, those nudges, like the owl, to okay, or like the ram to make that jump. That is ours to do. But as we do that on a personal level, we are doing that on a collective level. And all of us being in this together, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, we are playing our part. We are playing our part. We are doing our piece. And it's happening. So I do want to give a shout out. I do want to give an absolute thank you, thank you, thank you to those who have volunteered. As well, none of us are victims. None of us are victims. Not truly, truly, truly down in the core of our being, none of us are victims. We are playing our part. And so I am grateful for those who are playing their part as volunteers. And this goes with the 2-legged, 4-legged, winged ones, creepy crawlers, the swimming ones, the flying ones that are playing their part and showing us what we no longer want. Being that shadow side that is dying off. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being that warrior. And then thank you for all the light warriors that are holding those spaces, those monks in those caves, those holy people at the temples, that are, those light workers in the shadows, and those who are having these big accolade type ceremonies. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing your part. And there's many who are the silent ones. Which takes me to that space of, what would you do? Who would you be without the likes, without the accolades, without the thank yous, without the fame or glory or title? Who are you without all of that? What do you do? Who are you? What is your beingness? That's what we need to see more of in the world. That's what changes the world from the ground, solid foundation gotta have a good solid foundation for it to grow up. It's gotta be firmly rooted in that mother. Hey. So I'm gonna leave you on that thought. I feel quite complete. Thank you for listening. Rashini is out for the count, going off into dreamland. Oh.